do a couple of exercises to help you think about how to keep your ribs down, or another way to say it is to knit your ribs together, specifically for ballet class. So you'll need a mat or somewhere comfortable to lay and a foam roller. It doesn't have to be as big as my foam roller, but something that's like long enough that you can lay back on. Okay, we'll get started laying down. It's easiest if you have your feet on the ground and your knees up, and just take a second to notice where your spine goes naturally. I have a bun in my hair today, so my head can't fully go on the ground. So just notice what your spine does naturally, and like in other videos that we've done, start to pull your belly button in and up towards the ground, and notice how that shifts the relationship of your lower back to the floor. And then now I also want you to actively think about pulling the bottom of your ribs and the top of your hips closer together. So that should start to send your kind of mid back even deeper into the floor. So now you're both pulling your belly button in and up, but you're also thinking about connecting your bottom rib and the top of your hip together. Another way to think about it is to imagine that you have a needle and thread and you're sewing your ribs together. So you're knitting in and out between your ribs and bringing those ribs closer together. So you can hold this shape, and it may feel pretty active, but you shouldn't be holding it so much that you can't move. So find that state that you can hold for a little while, and then we're just going to try to add our arms without having our ribs come up. So I'm going to take my arms down to this low fifth shape, and I'm just going to raise them up to about belly button height, and just notice how that feels in my ribs. I might start to notice that my ribs want to start to flare open or lift up, and our goal is to keep them down as we move our arms and as we keep breathing. And then I'm going to try to float my arms up to my high fifth. And now for me, I really notice that my ribs want to flare here when I let my arms float up. So I'm working really hard using the muscles throughout my core to keep my ribs pulled down as I lift my arms up. Good, and then from here, I'll come back to my first position, and I might also try opening up to my second position. And again, I'm working on keeping my ribs down as I flow through these arm movements. Our legs to a tabletop shape. And I'm going to try to find that knitted rib position again. I'm pulling my belly button to my spine. I'm pulling my top of my hips, my lower rib together. And I'm going to bring my arms up towards my knees. I'm going to work really slowly here. And I'm going to drop my left toe and my right arm. And as I do that, I'm really thinking about keeping my ribs down. So this is really challenging when I'm really thinking about keeping my ribs down. You can already see my body working really hard. I'm even getting a little bit of a shake already. So this is an excellent exercise, both for you to feel what it feels like to keep your ribs down, but also to build some strength in your core that supports you being able to keep your ribs down. So I'm just going to do 2 more on each side. Of course, you can do more of these. This would be something great to do as a warm-up before you start dancing, before dance class if you get there early, just to start to tap in to that feeling in your core. So I'm going to lay the foam roller along my middle back. If you wear a bra, right where your bra strap would be, ish. And from there, I'm going to let myself arch out over the foam roller. I'm going to catch my head, lay back over the foam roller. Depending on how your body is feeling, you might not be able to go all the way back. That might feel like too much of a stretch. So really listen to your body and do what's going to feel good to you. For me, I do like to arch back quite a bit as a really nice chest opener. So you're welcome to hang out there for a little while if that feels good. So I'm gonna open myself back up over the foam roller. I'm starting to support my head just to start with, to see where I'm at today. And you will notice that my ribs have opened up a lot as I lay back over the foam roller. Okay, from here I'm supporting my neck. I'm gonna think about knitting my ribs together and down towards my hip bones to pull me up into like a little crunch or a sit-up position. Now at the top of this shape, my core is really engaged and my ribs are down towards my hip bones. I could even curl up more. And then I will release slowly the same way. I'm trying to keep my ribs knitted for as long as I can until I get to the bottom where they have to find this flare. Good, and then I'll do that again. So instead of thinking about a normal sit-up, I'm gonna think about how do I pull bottom rib and top of hip together and think about my ribs coming down to get to this little crunched shape. I'm gonna hold here for a moment before I let myself open back up. And I'll just try that one more time. I'm gonna pull my ribs together towards my hips. And I'm just gonna find that shape, pulling my belly button to my spine. Good. Those are 3 things you can do to really start to tap into the muscles in your core that help support your ribs staying down in ballet class.